Hey, everybody, it's Marisa Murgatroyd, founder of Live Your Message and Superhero Summits. So I'm really excited to be here with you, and we're in our brand new home. It's the first webinar streaming from our new home. Thank you all for coming out, and I want to give a huge shout out to our partners before I begin. So thank you so much to Linda Claire Puig and Tess Strand of the Virtual Assistant Forums and Jeannie Spiro. So if all of you came from Tess or from Linda or from Jeannie, welcome. I'm really excited to be meeting you for the first time. So take a moment now and let me know in the chat who you are. I already see some familiar names and also some people that I don't know. Oops. I did it. Sorry, I made the big mistake of forgetting to pause the video. Oops. Okay, so let me know in the chat who you are and where you're coming from so I can get to know who else is here. And you know, for all of those who are new, I really am thrilled to meet you. I actually have the absolute pleasure of waking up every day and helping thousands of entrepreneurs to translate their big vision for their business into a really powerful message. You know, a message that their audience is going to understand and want to be a part of. A message that's going to make it really easy for them to build the online business, you know, the website, the marketing systems they need to get out there on a massive scale. So over the next hour, I'd like to guide you through some exercises and some trainings that are going to help you stand out in just 3 seconds. So I know that's a big promise. How can you stand out in just 3 seconds? And you're going to see in just a moment, but I will need your full focus and attention. So if you can, take a moment to shut down your email, close Facebook, and really be here with us now. So let me know in the chat if you're willing to turn off all the distractions for the next 60 minutes or so we can really dig in. All right? And I'm going to wait for your commitment before I get started because I actually want this webinar to make a difference for you and not just to be like entertainment, because I could start juggling or something instead of teaching, and it would be entertainment. But I want to go deeper than that. So let me know in the chat if you're ready. And while I wait for your comments to come in, I just want to take a moment and let you know how this webinar is going to work. I'd like to hear from you throughout the webinar. We've installed a chat box to the right of the video. So all you've got to do is log on as a guest, and I see over 200 of you are already logged on. So log on with your social network of choice and just start commenting. If you've got a question during the presentation, type it in. We've got our teammate there, Brad, in the chat, and he's going to be supporting you. He'll keep track of any questions that he can't answer and let me know at the end so I can really address all the questions that you've got. And this format, it's a live streaming Google Hangout on Air. So if for whatever reason the audio stops on your end, the video stops, the best thing that you can do is refresh your browser. And that usually fixes the problem. But if for whatever reason your internet's just having a bad day, and sometimes internet can have a bad day, we will be posting a replay on this page immediately once the session is done. But we definitely recommend sticking around for the live event because we've got something special for all of those who are here live with us, okay? So are you ready? And I'm looking in the chat and I see sure thing, all off, says Mike. Facebook is closed down. That's a big, bold step. Done. All right. Lots of people. We've got Susan and Janine and everybody. All right. Well, welcome. Let's just do this. Let's make it happen. All right. So here's the thing. 2 websites walk into a bar. Our first website, his name is Steve. And he just struts into the bar, right? And it's like he instantly gets noticed. The heads turn. You know, the women start to flock over to him. The beer starts to flow. People are bringing him drinks. And just life is grand for Steve. Now, our second website, his name is Larry. And Larry kind of skulks into the bar, you know. He looks around. Nobody even bats an eyelid. So he tries to get noticed even harder. He starts jumping up and down. He waves his hand. He screams. He does everything he can to get noticed. But nothing that he does is working. So what's going on here? You know, what does our first website, Steve, know that Larry doesn't know? So for starters, Steve knows that the numbers don't stack up in his favor in a really crowded online marketplace. So let's look at what the numbers actually say. There are roughly 861 million active websites online today. That's actually one website for every 8 people that exists on the planet. And there are another 103 million new websites coming online every single year. That's actually 571 new websites appearing each and every minute. If you blink your eyes once, that's the average time that it takes for a new website to hit the net. Now there's also 54 million Facebook pages and 100 hours of video uploaded to YouTube every single minute. And even worse, there are thousands of people who are setting up shop online trying to do what you do. So let me ask you, do you think this competition is getting more or less fierce every day? More fierce, right? And that's why it's so important to learn how to stand out online. Your ability to stand out from the crowd and get noticed is literally your biggest competitive advantage, because online attention is everything. And most people have no idea how to do this. And if you relate, then stick around, because I'm going to be giving you lots of great ways to stand out today in our training. So let's dig in and let's find out why Steve makes money and why Larry doesn't. So first of all, Steve understands something that Larry doesn't. He understands that if you don't hook your website visitors in the first 3 to 7 seconds of landing on your site, then you might not as well even exist. And maybe that's okay if your site isn't worth paying attention to anyway. But if you're doing this to make a difference and to help people with what you know, and you're not hooking them in right away, then you've just lost a valuable opportunity to change someone's life with what you know and be well rewarded for it. But on the flip side, Steve's excited. He also knows that he's just 3 seconds and 1 click away from his new biggest fan, his new top client, or his new success story. As you can imagine, there are some really specific things that you got to do in those first 3 seconds. So before I dig down into this and show you the exact art and science to being like Steve and mastering those critical first 3 seconds, I want to take the pulse of the room and ask, how many here would describe themselves as Larry, and how many of you are more like Steve? So just type into the chat window below this video if you're more like Larry or Steve. Just let me know whether you're more like Larry or you're more like Steve. So you might feel like Steve if you've got a website that you love that actually brings in subscribers, fans, and customers every single day. And you've got a business that really expresses who you are and resonates with your ideal client a lot. And you're like Larry if you either don't have a website or you've got a website you're embarrassed about that doesn't really get results. It doesn't grow your email list, and it definitely doesn't make you money. So I'm going to go over to the chat and see what you've got to say. All right, I think the comments are still coming in. So that's the interesting thing about Google Hangouts. You're actually about 30 seconds behind me in the past. I'm in the future. So Larry, I see Larry says Libby, and so does Jacob, and Brenda, and Amy, and Kenny, and Mike, and Margarita, and Donna, and Maya says half and half. Sheila says Larry, wah, wah, wah. Donna says Larry, and so does Nicole, and Cindy, and Kate, and Zelda. Wow, that's a lot of Larrys. Maya's having her website redesigned, so she's hoping to be Steve soon, and I'm going to give you some strategies for that. So the Larrys are just kind of flying in. Samantha is more like Steve, but she needs to go over. So we've got a Steve in the house. Congratulations, Samantha. All right, so almost everybody is saying Larry. We've got Michelle, who's more like Steve, but she feels a lot like Larry. All right, so lots and lots of Larrys and a few Steves. So congratulations if you already feel like Steve, but regardless of whether you feel more like Larry or like Steve or a combination of the two, what I'm about to show you is the exact art and science of grabbing attention in the first 3 seconds when someone new lands on your website. So you can turn those visitors into new clients, opportunities, and cash flow every single day. And it's not just about having a website you love, it's about having an effective website that in a matter of seconds grabs your visitors' attention and builds your business. So how many of you want to learn the exact step-by-step process for grabbing people's attention in the first 3 to 7 seconds that they meet you, whether that's online or in person, like Larry, like Steve at the bar, or Larry? So this is absolutely vital, because until you master those first few seconds that forever shape how people see you, no website and no amount of marketing activity will bring you the success that you deserve. So I'm about to show you my secret formula for quickly getting noticed in a crowded marketplace. It's actually a little-known 3-step framework that all the top product brands on the planet use to jump off the shelves and into people's hands. This isn't something that's going to require a lot of money or focus groups or anything like that to get right. This is something that you can put to work in your business right away, regardless of whether you've been in business for 20 years or you're just starting out. So imagine for a second that you're walking down a supermarket aisle, a really big supermarket, and there are rows and rows of products on every side of you. Some of them are big and some are small, some are red and some are blue. Now, each and every one of these products has already done something extraordinary. They've beaten out dozens of competitors to get on the shelves of these massive chains. And when you get your business online, you've done something extraordinary too. But here's the thing, your work isn't over yet. You still have to inspire your prospects to pull you off the shelf and put you in their basket. So if you have an established brand, then you don't have to work as hard because people already recognize you. They've heard about you. They might even come ready to give you a try. But if you're new or you're not well known yet, you've got to be able to compete against all those other products on the shelf next to you. You've got to be able to compete against the thousands, if not millions, of people who offer similar products and services as you. So you might be wondering, how can I possibly get noticed? How can I possibly stand out and compete against all of those other people? How do new businesses like mine ever break into the market? And that's a really good question. So the secret to standing in any competitive market is a little known but powerful formula called the product reading sequence. And what the product reading sequence will do is tell you what piece of information you need to give people when, so that they really understand what you're saying and want to know more at the end. Sounds good, doesn't it? So how exactly does this work? Let's go back to our supermarket for the answer. What's the very first thing that a product needs to do in order to compete? Can anyone guess? All right, that's right. The very first thing that a product or a business or a website or even a person needs to do is simply get noticed, to stand out as fast as you can. And the same goes for you. So how can you stand out even in a crowded market, even among businesses that have been around for years longer than you? So the answer is by sending what I like to call visual power signals. So I'm going to give you some examples of some of my favorite visual power signals in just a second. But first, I want you to understand that when you really tap into the potential of these visual power signals on your website, you're going to pull your audience in toward you like you've never experienced before. But if you misuse these signals, or like most people, you just don't use them at all, then you've run the risk of pushing them away even faster. So let's ground this for you now with a practical example. Your logo. Most people think a logo, it's just a logo. So they focus on creating this really cool looking symbol and they stick it on top of their website or on their business cards or on their coffee mugs if they're hardcore. But that approach misses a huge opportunity to include your humble logo in a powerful and credibility boosting power signal that's going to work over time in your business to help you stand out even in a crowded marketplace. So the first visual power signal that I'm going to give you is called a graphic system. Basically, a graphic system is where you never create anything in isolation. Everything that you do is created with the same theme or visual motif, the same core set of colors, fonts, images, and concepts. So what I'm showing you on the screen is a powerful graphic system that we use in Take Flight Now, the business that I run with my husband, Murray. So as you can see, it's a simple page, but it all matches, and that's no accident. We began with the logo, and then we used the same color choices throughout the website and into the cover of our free gift download too. So you can see that the ebook cover, it shares the graphic motif of the logo and the background of the website. The colors of the little paper planes are mirrored in the accent colors of the background too. The font we used in the logo is also used on the ebook cover and elsewhere on the page. So it all fits together in this really classy way. It looks like we spent a lot to get this page designed, but really we didn't. And by using this simple graphic system, our visitors know that we're A players without us even needing to say a word. And this happens instantly. That's why the graphic system power signal is one of the most important power signals that you can send if you want to stand out, because rightly or wrongly, our brains know that it's safe to trust businesses where everything matches visually because they feel like the real deal. It's crazy, but it's true. So when we land on your site, even before you open your mouth, we use your graphic system or lack of graphic system like this credibility shortcut. In 3 seconds, a great graphic system tells your visitors that they're in the right place. It's just like getting out of a really nice car at a networking event. And this works in reverse too. Does your logo share the same typeface and colors as your website? Or did the designer just do his own thing? Do your product covers share the same overall theme as your site? Or does everything look kind of standalone? Do your business cards match the design that I'm going to find when I visit your site? Or are they different? When you don't have a graphic system, everything feels disconnected and one-off, so your headlines need to work a lot harder to convince. Your content needs to be better. Everything is harder than it needs to be. So now I'd like to give you a second example of a graphic system that I created, and this time it's for my student, Lori Dupar. Lori coaches people with ADHD, and when she first started with me, as you can see, she had a site that failed to grab attention. She has a bunch of different fonts, 2 logos, and the only signals that it sends are bad ones. This means that she was losing her audience at step 1 of the product reading sequence. She just couldn't grab their attention and keep it. So we sat down and we thought about how could we create a graphic system that would support her business. The result? We completely changed her color scheme, her fonts, her logo, and her business name. We changed the core words and images that she used to express herself in the marketplace. So if you look at Lori's logo, you'll see that it's a brain made up of brightly colored individual gears. And those colored gears become a core motif that we use over and over again on her site and throughout her entire product suite, which you can see here on the screen. In addition to providing us with an amazing and recognizable graphic system that we could use over and over again, these gears also supported Lori's message and what made her really different. Lori had a nursing background, and she really understood what was happening in the brain of someone with ADHD. So she helped her clients achieve success by better understanding and better managing the way their brain works. So in other words, the graphics we created not only grabbed attention, they conveyed real meaning for her audience, and they loved it. Since she created her graphic system, she's launched 2 books, including a #1 Amazon bestseller, and released several products. She hosted a summit, and she's increased her mailing list 10-fold. She doubled her coaching rates and hit 6 figures plus within just a year. So from her newsletters and her PowerPoint presentations to her core website and products, her materials are consistent and unmistakable thanks to her new graphic system. They stand out from everyone else in her industry, and this is what's taken her to A-player status in the field of ADHD coaching. These materials also gave her the confidence that she needed to step up and be seen in a big way so she could make the impact that she wanted to have. And before you say, Marisa, this is great, but creating a graphic system sounds kind of pricey, let me explain how creating a graphic system will actually save you money almost immediately. Create a new asset for your business, whether it's a new ebook, a business card, or a landing page. Imagine if your designer or your contractor didn't have to reinvent the wheel. Imagine if you could tell them, here are the colors to use, here are the graphic elements to incorporate, here are the fonts, and here is the look and feel. Instantly, your materials are cheaper to design since the hard work has already been done. There are no real choices that need to be made. They just use your system. The work happens faster, and as a result, you'll pay a lot less for better work. So there are dozens of other visual power signals that will help you stand out in a powerful, authentic, and most importantly, meaningful way for your audience. And I cover those in detail in my coaching program, Message to Money. And later on in this webinar, I'll give you the opportunity to join me if it's right for you. But first, I want to keep going and keep giving you a ton of value that you can put to use in your business right away. All right, step 1 of the product reading sequence, and get yourself noticed thanks to your new graphic system. What happens next? Step 2 of the product reading sequence is when your visitor is satisfied with the first impression that you sent and invests the time to ask themselves, what is this? What do you do? And why should I care? This is where your messaging power signals come into play. So messaging is basically a catch-all concept that encapsulates all the words that you use in your business, such as your business name, your tagline, the job title you give yourself, your website headlines, and a lot more. So if you want to pass step 2 and successfully answer your prospect's question of what is this, what do you do, and why should I care, then you have to crack the code on the most important handful of words that your audience sees first. These are the words that inspire your audience to nod their heads and take action. And a great way to gauge how effective your messaging currently is to really measure how many people are taking the next step with you. Out of all the people who are visiting your website, how many of them are signing up for your mailing list? How many of them are filling out your free application form, your free consultation form? How many are buying your products or services? If you aren't getting at the very least 5 to 10% of the people who visit your site to take some kind of action, even if it's small, then you're probably not using the right words. I mean, how many times have you visited a website and based on their business name and their tagline had no idea what they did or whether they could help? And let's say that even after digging through a few pages, you still weren't clear about what they did. It happens all the time, right? And the thing is, the same thing is probably happening to you too. Has anyone ever told you, I went to your site, but I wasn't totally clear on how you can help me? It's not because there's something wrong with you or your idea or your vision. It's simply because you faltered at step 2 of the product reading sequence. You simply haven't yet hit on the right combination of words that clearly express what you do in a way that makes your audience put down their other distractions, pay attention, really get why what you do is important, and why they should do business with you right now. Make sense? So because finding the right words and messaging is such a critical power signal for your business, I'm going to take you through 2 of my 20 fill-in-the-blank message templates. And the first one that we're going to cover here is the Juicy Title template. And I'll introduce it by asking a question. Have you ever been in the middle of telling someone what you do and they just completely got full-on saucer eyes? Let me know in the chat if this has ever happened to you. And maybe you said something along the lines like, I'm a life coach, and you watch the interest just drain from the other person's face. So what just happened? Well, you failed step 2 of the product reading sequence. Your messaging power signal wasn't firing properly. So to help you understand exactly why you lost your prospects so quickly, I want to introduce you to what I call the P-Touch. How many of you have actually used one of those handy little P-Touch labelers? I'm betting a lot of you. I love this thing. So what do you do with a P-Touch? You label something so you can file it away and find it again easily if you want it. But more often than not, you file it away and you forget about it. You know, out of sight, out of mind, right? In the human mind, it's essentially a machine that labels things in order to make sense of new situations. When we meet new people and we experience new things, we're instantly labeling, and for better or worse, we judge new people and experiences based on labels that we've already stuck on previous people we've met and experiences we've had. So for example, this person is like that person, or this person does what that person does, or this person reminds me of someone I once know, and yada, yada, yada. This process, it happens involuntarily and instantaneously. The downside is that if your messaging is just like everyone else's, then you're going to be labeled just like everyone else, just like every other coach, just like every other speaker, and just like every other writer. So I'm going to see what you guys had to say in the chat. Sheila says, yeah, and Tracy says, oh yes, deer in headlights. So a lot of people are saying, Kate, yes. Donna says, yep. David says, yep, all the time. Okay, so a lot of people are you know, resonating with this situation of saying what you do and just getting the glazed over deer in headlights look. So the only way to beat the P-Touch and avoid being instantly is to change the words that you use to define yourself so that you label yourself before people have a chance to label you. By doing that, you can literally defy those snap judgments, which allows the people you meet and the people who come to your site to only remain engaged, to not only remain engaged with you, but to be interested and even excited enough to want to take the next step with you. Now let's get to your juicy title, or the 2 to 3 words that you use to define yourself. So the P-Touch problem is that most people choose to use the same exact words to describe themselves, and what they do is everybody else. You know, for example, I'm a motivational speaker. How many of you have heard this one before? Now, how many of you actually describe yourself in this way? Well, if you are, then you've just been P-touched. You've just been labeled and filed away. But what if you decide to do something different, to be someone different, and get out that Midas touch like my client Doug Hansen. Now, Doug is a motivational speaker. He makes a living speaking. But you know what Doug calls himself? It's definitely not a motivational speaker. Doug calls himself the ambassador of ambition. Now, is anyone interested in hearing more about Doug? Is anyone curious? Anyone? Absolutely. Because what Doug has just done is jam the P-touch by daring to be different, daring to be a little more specific than everybody else. Doug has essentially labeled himself before anyone else can label him. This is what positioning your business is all about. Now, Doug's audience is talking to him and referring to him on his terms, based on what makes him unique and memorable. So like Doug's, your title should be a mix of who you are, what you do, how you help people, and why it matters, while positioning you as an expert and differentiating you to your tribe. Now let me give you a couple of quick fill-in-the-blank templates that will make it really easy for you to juice up your title in a way that jams the P-touch in people's heads and makes them sit up and pay attention, okay? No more deer in headlights, okay? So simply choose a common role or position, such as coach, expert, mentor, strategist, whatever it is, and add 1 or 2 juicy, unexpected words before you get to the meat and potatoes of what you do. So I think about it this way. I'm a blank coach. I'm a blank mentor. I'm a blank expert. I'm a blank strategist. So let me give you a few more examples of these blanks filled in. My student, Anna Graham Hunter, she went from being a regular old career coach to a career happiness coach. It's a subtle change that makes a world of difference in a crowded market. So can you see just how powerful a single word can be? Now let me give you another example. Instead of being just another dating coach, my client Evan Markatz, here's a catch, is a dating coach for smart, strong, successful women. Now if you're a single woman who likes to think of herself as smart, strong, and successful, you'd be much more likely to consider working with Evan. Here's one more example. Zsuzsa Novak is a brand strategist. But instead of calling herself a brand strategist, she calls herself a star power strategist. Much more interesting, right? So as you can imagine, that's a conversation starter. Now our second juicy title template is similar. In this template, you choose a common role, such as president, author, founder, or creator, and you add a few words after it. For example, world-famous internet marketer Frank Kern calls himself the president of, get this, the president of the internet. It's so outrageous that it's actually compelling. And my student, Jamie Miller, went from being an English tutor to being the founder of the English Success Academy. Now, which version of Jamie would you be more likely to hire if you needed to pass the TOEFL examination? An English tutor or the founder of the English Success Academy? It's obvious, right? Now this is just one piece of messaging that can give you a juicy job title that makes you stand out big time and pass step 1 of the product reading sequence. But imagine if you were to apply all 20 of my messaging templates to your entire business, to your business name, your tagline, your website copy, all your product and service offerings, so that you could really bring your message to life every single time that you speak or you write. How quickly do you think that you'd see a difference in how people react and respond and engage with you? So now we're going to move on to one more of my fill-in-the-blank messaging, and this one is called The Big Promise. And it's really going to help you sail past step 2 of the product reading sequence. So you're definitely going to want to take notes here, since this one is really super powerful. So The Big Promise is a messaging template designed to help you find a hook. So a hook is a big, bold claim that quickly grabs your ideal client's attention and has them asking what I call the money questions. How do you do that? Do you have a card? Or even, where can I sign up? That's my favorite one. Now here's how to find your big promise. You want to start by asking yourself the question, what specific outcome or experience can I promise my clients that they want, but they just can't get anywhere else? So let me repeat that. What specific outcome or experience can I promise my clients that they want, but they just can't get anywhere else? You can use the big promise to name your business, your products, your books, or your programs in a way that really positions you differently from everybody else in your market, and in a way that pre-qualifies your prospect like nothing else you can do in business. So creating the right big promise will actually give you huge clarity on your entire business message. And that's why this template is such a potent power signal for your business. So let me give you a few examples and a few of the most common formulas for big promise positioning. So this will really hit home for you. The first one is Alicia's program, Bestseller in a Weekend. How to go from idea to author in 4 hours or less. Now this one follows the big promise formula, X outcome in Y time. With Bestseller in a Weekend, Alicia literally makes a big promise, and then she makes that big promise seem attainable by letting you know exactly how much time it's going to take to achieve it. That's a lot more compelling than just write a bestseller, right? Or sit in your cabin in the woods for 3 months drinking whiskey and hoping that a bestseller will come out of it. So I'm sure you've seen this formula lots of times. And the opposite of this formula is just as effective. X time to achieve Y outcome. So here's an example. This one is the name of a best-selling book by Jessica Known, The 7-Day Back Pain Cure. Now this formula starts with the amount of time that something takes and then moves into the big promise. This works really well if you have a short time period, such as 7 days, the famous 4 hours, or even 10 minutes. Next up, we've got the formula X steps for Y outcome, or common variations such as X process to achieve Y outcome, or X system to achieve Y outcome. For example, Stephen Covey's famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So big promises that are based on this formula make it seem really simple to achieve a big outcome, such as becoming highly effective, by breaking it down into clear, manageable steps. Pretty cool stuff, right? So are you starting to see how you can easily craft top converting names and headlines that really help you pass step 2 of the product reading sequence? What it is, and why you should care? Now don't worry if you feel like you can't make a big promise. There are a lot of other ways to talk about what you do in a way that matters to your audience. So let me give you another example of my student Jamie Miller. So when Jamie first started Message to Money, she had a business at jamiemiller.com where she coached students from all over the world to pass the TOEFL examination so they could open new opportunities for themselves. She was feeling completely overwhelmed and maxed out because there were only so many people she could coach privately. She was making less than $50,000 a year, and she actually had to turn students away because her practice was full. Fast forward less than a year and a half, with a few simple changes in her messaging, her passive income has skyrocketed 27 times what it was before, and her website bounce rate has dropped to 12% from over 50%, which means that 78% of new visitors who land on her site stay and browse to more than one page on her site. So what did she change in her messaging to have such a profound effect on her business? Well, as Jamie went through the messaging templates that I provide as part of Message to Money, she quickly realized that she had the wrong business name. She had named her business after herself at jamiemiller.com, and she realized that was limiting her. Her business was about her students, not her, and she didn't have to be the only person teaching all of them. So, inspired by my institutional messaging template, she changed her business name to the English Success Academy, which had an instant positive effect on her bottom line. This in turn gave her the confidence to reinvent her business model to offer more pre-recorded training programs, and she created a professional brand look and feel that instantly positioned her not just as an individual coach or teacher, but as the founder of a virtual academy. The new positioning enabled Jamie to expand her offerings and her team, and now her school serves way more people and makes way more money. So Jamie's new messaging power signals had clearly passed the 3-second test, and had helped her create not only a bigger vision for herself, but for her business as well. So let's sum up what we've learned in this section before moving on. I led you through 2 of my 20 message templates, the Juicy Title template and the Big Promise Positioning template, and I showed you how armed with just these 2 templates, you're well on your way to cracking the code on the core words that not only grab attention, but allow your audience to instantly understand what you do and why they should care. So in addition to the juicy title and the big promise, I've created 18 other messaging templates for my students with names like the guru, the community builder, the inventor, the symbolist, the imagist, the conceptualist, the culturalist, the mashup, the jaw dropper, and a whole bunch more. And they all approach step 2 of the product reading sequence from different angles and work for different kinds of businesses and industries and markets. So I hope you're starting to see just how powerful your messaging power signals can be and how irresistible your business will become to your prospects when you find the right words. So back to the product reading sequence, and happy days because we've now successfully moved along to step 3, which is the step where people are finally interested in knowing more about what you offer. Seems kind of crazy to have to wait so long to finally give people the meat and potatoes info about what you do, right? But you can't do this sequence in reverse. All right, that's really important to know. You can't do this sequence in reverse. Because if you do, if you start yakking around right away about what a great widget or what a great program you've got, you're going to lose people instantly, like Larry, our insurance salesman at the bar, who you met at the start of this training. So Larry's website fails at both step 1 and step 2 of the product reading sequence. It doesn't stand out and get attention by sending any visual power signals. He had his business cards designed for free at Vistaprint, and he certainly doesn't have a graphic system. So without passing step 1 of the product reading sequence, he instantly fails the 3-second test. His audience doesn't stick around to figure out what he does, why they should care, and why they should do business with him. You know, he never stood a chance. But Steve, on the other hand, well, Steve put in place the visual power signal that I taught you, a graphic system. And now everything that he creates looks the part and sends the right signals that he's an A player. So as a result, his site really stands out. It grabs attention, and a huge proportion of his visitors stay and engage with him because he also nailed his messaging power signals. So instead of having to work hard for each and every sale, they start to come effortlessly because he differentiated himself in the hearts and minds of his audience, and now they feel like he's the only person that can help them. He's their go-to expert. And when you tap into the visual and messaging power signals that I taught you, the same is going to happen in your business. I guarantee it. I can say that because of what happened to me as soon as I started sending these power signals in my own business. Pretty quickly, I started getting emails like this one. I'm currently working with a high-ticket mastermind group. My membership is coming up for renewal, and I was thinking of not rejoining and exploring how Marisa can help me to take my business to the next level. Can you give me an idea of what Marisa charges for a VIP day? Are we in the $5,000, the $10,000, the $20,000 range? Can you imagine getting an email like this every day? Go ahead. I want you to imagine it for a second. Emails where your prospects aren't even concerned about price. They've been on your website, they've seen your stuff, and all they know is that they need to work with you. So more and more people that I meet are actually telling me that I'm in their vision board, or I'm on their wish list, or even in their strategic plan for the year. They've actually created the intention to work with me. Now, if that doesn't show you what having the right visual and messaging power signals can do for your business, then I don't know what does. The truth is, though, that I didn't always have it all worked out and dialed in. When I first started out online a few years back, I felt completely stuck, confused, and overwhelmed because my website embarrassed me, and I avoided giving out business cards because I didn't want people visiting it. I felt stuck because I didn't love my business name, and I wondered if I was in the wrong niche. So I never really threw myself completely into my marketing because I didn't want to spend time and energy marketing something that just wasn't right. So if you've ever wondered why you're putting off things that you know you should be doing, this could be the reason. It's hard to take action when you don't have clarity, when you don't know what to say or what to do. So because of all that, I was attracting the wrong clients. People who didn't pay me what I was worth, people who didn't appreciate me, people who didn't respect my expertise. And I was starting to feel really discouraged because all the work I was doing wasn't getting me the attention I deserved or the impact I craved. I knew I could help a lot of people, but I couldn't figure out how to get my work out there on a bigger scale and make money doing it. And worst of all, it's like the more time passed, the more stuck I felt because I'd already put so much time and so much effort into building the website and the business that I had. I kind of felt like it was too late to change. So I just kept digging myself deeper and deeper into a hole. So have you ever felt this way? Maybe even right now, perhaps? Let me know in the chat if this resonates with you. So what changed? How did I get from there to where I am today? Well, what changed everything for me was a conversation. And when I say conversation, it was really more like an intervention, a business intervention. My coach at the time, he sat me down and he told me point blank, Marisa, the business that you're trying to build, it doesn't reflect who you are and what you really do for people. It's holding you back, and it's stopping you from reaching the people that you really want to help. Settling with what you have is not an option. Of course, I didn't want to hear what he was saying, so I got a little defensive. I really didn't want to have to rethink something that I'd already put so much time and effort into. So I told myself, well, at least I have a business and clients are coming in. It sure ain't perfect, but it's good enough. But my coach was right. Clearly, I'd hit a ceiling that was keeping me stuck. Something wasn't working. I just didn't know what. So I'm looking at the chat box here, and David says, I can relate, Marisa, been there. Camilla says yes. Pam says right now. Donna says yes. Kate says, I just changed focus because of those exact feelings. Kenny, yes. Lori, yes, I need clarity. Wow says, been there. Zelda, yes. Rhonda resonates. Tracy, absolutely. Andrea, yes, I'm there. I feel right in that spot, says Margarita. So a lot of you resonate with that. So let me just take a sip of water and continue. So in that moment, right then and there, when I really felt like I'd hit a ceiling, I made a decision. I decided that I didn't want to waste any more time and money running myself into the ground trying to stick Band-Aids on a business that wasn't working in so many ways. It was absolutely vital that I figure it out, vital to my sanity and my finances and my future. So I took a step back to try to figure out where I was going wrong. And instead of looking at what I had, the website and the offerings and the business cards, I looked a layer deeper. I looked at what I actually wanted, who I was, who I really wanted to help, and what I could do for them that no one else could do in the way that I do. And from that inquiry, the words and the images began to flow, and they were unlike any other words and images that I'd ever used before. Live Your Message was born, and people quickly took notice. They instantly resonated with the business and the message, the look and the feel, and they started responding to me in a completely different way. That very first year, I went from making $58,000 to $176,000. Then the next year, our business tripled again, reaching the $500,000 mark. And this year, we're on track to hit $1 million. Just because I stopped and decided to take a different approach. I realized that the reason I was struggling to get customers and build my community was because I'd started in the wrong place. I was doing all the right things, but in the wrong order. So it felt like I was building a house on sand. Nothing I seemed to do or create was getting the results that I hoped for. So let me show you what I mean by this realization, because I think it might help you too. What you see on the screen right now is the exact inside-out business roadmap that I created as I reinvented my business and the business of my clients, leading 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs like Alexis Neely, Don Crowther, Morgana Ray, and a lot more. So what do you see when you look at this? 6 rings, right? 6 rings that start in the center and radiate outward. It's in these 3 inner rings, roadmap, message, and brand, that you do the work of figuring out exactly what business you're in and how to express what you do for people in a way that's irresistible. This is where you figure out how to inspire your audience to care about what you do and want to work with you. The first 2 steps of the product reading sequence happen right here. It's also where all the graphic power signals and the messaging power signals come into play. So what I realized is that the mistake I'd made in my first business, the reason why it was never going to work, even though I had put my heart and my soul into it, was because I had started on the outside rings. I jumped right into building and launching my website, into crafting my product offerings, and into marketing. Before doing all that work, I hadn't paused for long enough to figure out how exactly could I stand out in a huge way among all the other business coaches out there, and there are a lot of them. I didn't pause long enough to crack the code on the core words and images that I needed to express what I do and why it mattered so that people cared enough to take action with me. And sadly, this is a trap that almost everybody falls into when launching a business online. Because everybody's out there saying you got to have a website and you got to have a Facebook page and you got to have an email list. They say that all you got to do is put that stuff in place and you'll start making money while you sleep. And while it is true, while you do got to have all that, it's definitely not where you should start. Because when you start in these outer rings, you risk spending lots of time and lots of money producing products and services and offerings that look and sound identical to everybody else's. Stand out and that don't make people care enough to take the next step. So no one really buys what you have to offer. And here are the warning signs that this failure to connect could be happening to you. Do people ever get confused by your website or they don't understand what you do? Are you spending time and money driving traffic to a website that doesn't reliably convert new visitors into leads and customers? Are you constantly adding new marketing activities to your slate because your current marketing isn't really working as well as you want? Do prospects ever tell you they'd love to work with you, but they can't afford you? So I spent 2 years answering yes, yes, yes to all of these questions before I realized that it doesn't matter how pretty or cool your website is. If you don't have the core visual power signals that you need to instantly stand out and grab attention. That's step 1 of the product reading sequence. Stand out fast. And it doesn't matter how much marketing you do or how many offerings you have if you don't have the core messaging power signals that inspire your audience to care and finally buy from you. That's step 2 of the product reading sequence. What is this and why should I care? Sure, you can still get some clients and you can still make some sales, but you'll feel like you need to persuade and convince. You won't have the blockbuster off-the-hook success that you want for yourself. So if your business is really going to take off, then you need to take a different approach. You need to take what I call an inside-out approach, starting from the center and working your way out. Because when you start from the inside and work your way out, everything becomes a lot easier and a lot more effective. Not only do you have the clarity that you need to produce your content, your website, and your marketing in a way that stands out and gets noticed, you'll have the core images and messaging that you can carry through to everything you produce. So everything looks, sounds, and feels like you. No more one-offs, no more piecemeal strategies, and no more mixed messages that leave your audience confused about who you are and whether they can trust you. For power signals to really work, they need to be present in everything you do. They need to be consistent. And when you do this, when you start from the inside and work your way out, all of a sudden you'll have the clarity on your message and brand that you've been searching for. And that's going to impact everything you do. Everything you say and everything you create. And let me tell you, this clarity and confidence makes all the difference between a yes and a no. And those yeses, well, the sum total of all those yeses actually gives you the business that you've been dreaming about. So now that we've covered the first 3 rings of my Inside Out business roadmap, let's talk about those outer 3 rings, your offerings, your website, and your marketing, and how to figure out exactly what to do and what not to do. These 3 outer rings of the Inside Out system make up what I call your business universe, which you can see here on the screen. So your business universe represents all the different places that people interact with you and your business. Your content, your website, your offerings, you name it, and all the other promotional activities that you do in business. So you can think of them like doorways that people walk through to enter your business and enter your world. And right there in the center of your business universe, we've got your vision for your business, your message, and your brands. Everything you worked out in the first 2 steps of the product reading sequence. It informs and inspires everything else you do in your business. Now the question is, where do we go from here? How do you build a thriving online business around your message and brand? Well, your clients are everywhere. But the thing is, you never know where someone's going to meet you first. They could find you on Facebook. They could find you on your blog. Maybe they get your email forwarded from a friend. So most people get super overwhelmed because they feel like they got to do everything at once, put up their website and their blog and their Facebook page, send out press releases, form partnerships, and the list is just endless. So what most people do is they dive right in, like I did when I first started my business. They dive in and they start putting up all these doorways into their business. And they're like the doors in one of those old school black and white movies where Charlie Chaplin opens a door, there's nothing there, and he falls through. Like when you go to someone's blog and they haven't posted in months, or you go to someone's website and you sign up for their list and get maybe one email, then never hear from them again. This happens all the time. In the mad rush to creating an online business, we put out all these trap doors that don't really represent what we do in the way we want to be seen by our audience. Or we try new approaches and give up before we see the results. Like when you start blogging and then you stop after a few months because no one's commenting or engaging. So I know how overwhelming and discouraging that feels. So what I'd like you to do now is to really focus in on a few doorways that matter. The doorways that are really going to move the needle for you, and to do those super, super well. To create an extraordinary experience for your audience in just a few places. To really express your power signals in a way that inspires them to take notice and take action. So there are a couple of doorways that you got to have. There are two things in your online business universe that are absolutely essential, non-negotiable. You got to do these things or there's no business kind of things. And those are your website and your offerings. So you've got to build those out in a way that taps smoothly into your visual and messaging power signals. And after you've built out your website and your offerings, using the principles that I've taught you today, then you can go ahead and choose 3 other promotional activities to do on a weekly basis to grow your tribe and support your business. So why just 3? You may be asking yourself, but what about Facebook and what about podcasting? What about any number of other strategies? So here's the thing. 3 promotional activities is easily enough to take your business to 6 figures and beyond when they're backed by your visual and messaging power signals. You can really simplify what you're doing when you get the inside stuff right, the stuff that people really pay attention to. So the very first year that I relaunched my business, all I had was 1 free gift and 1 high-end service offering. And the only 3 things that I focused on was fine-tuning my website, building my email list, and blogging. So doing just these 3 things in the right way was all it took to get me from $58,000 a year to $176,000. And once I had those down, once I had those handful of things really dialed in and working, I added a couple more things. I created a product, I found some partners, and I started doing webinars. That took me to mid-6 figures and onwards and upwards. So where do you want to focus right now? What does your roadmap look like? Which 3 strategies should you be focusing on? Let me give you a few parameters to help you choose. First, you're going to want to choose stuff that you're actually good at, that you actually want to do, even love to do. That way you're more likely to do them. So no marketing strategy, no business model is right for you if you're not going to do it. It doesn't matter how profitable a particular strategy is. If you hate it or don't do it or you can't do it, then it's not the right strategy for you, even if there's lots of other people out there making money using that strategy. Second, as you choose your strategies, try considering where your audience is hanging out and how they want to interact with you. If they love hanging out on social media, then try to develop a social media presence. When you match your marketing to your market, you're going to get a better response and your job magically gets a whole lot easier. And third, which 3 promotional strategies best support your business and bring you closer to the outcomes that you imagine? So if you're a writer and you're looking for that 6-figure book deal, then perhaps you want to focus on building your following using email, social media, and blogging. That way you can show a top publisher that you already have an audience who's hungry for your book. Or you could choose to build your audience and your credibility through speaking, podcasting, and media appearances. Both of these pathways are going to lead you towards that best-selling book. The question is, which one do you prefer? So it's actually pretty exciting and even empowering when you realize that 3 promotional activities are all you need to build a 6-figure business online. But that can only happen once you've passed steps 1 and 2 of the product reading sequence, and you have your visual and messaging power signals dialed in. All right, so I want to stop here and make an important point before we go on. I think that you'll agree that no one really talks about business like this. They don't talk about the things we've covered today. Instead, all they talk about is the outside stuff, the traffic tricks, the social media tactics, the SEO strategies for marketing your business online. So why do you think that is? It's because the quick fix outside stuff is easier to sell, it's easier to learn, and it's easier to do. But here's the thing. These tactics come and go. One day they're hot, and one day they're not. So they don't really support you over the long term and allow you to build a sustainable business that gathers momentum year after year. Have you ever wondered why so many online entrepreneurs are here today and gone tomorrow? It's because they've built their businesses on sand. They've spread their energy thin trying to do and be too many things, or they've relied on get-rich-quick tactics that only work for a small window of time, rather than focusing on what they're really here to do and what their business is all about. No, rather than focusing on the things that don't change, the center of your business, the foundation, the power signals that you send regardless of where you show up. That's why I want to wrap up by encouraging you to take a stand right here, right now, against the quick fix strategies that just don't serve your business in the right way, and commit to working with me on the right stuff in your business over the next 3 months. Once I made that commitment to work on the core elements of my business, my roadmap, my graphic system, and my messaging, everything started to shift. It all started clicking in a way that it never had before. When I relaunched my business as Live Your Message that very first year, we tripled our income. In the following year, we tripled it again, reaching mid-6 figures. And this year, we're poised to break the $1 million mark, which is kind of thrilling to me. In that time, we've also grown our list from less than 1,000 to over 30,000 today. And I've been able to raise my basic package rates with every successive client, starting at less than $5,000 in 2011 to over $50,000 today. And now I'm able to easily ask for and get $10,000 a day for my consulting. And I want to see the same results for you. But as you can see, getting your message and brand pitch perfect is both an art and a science. It's a magic combination of left brain and right brain, and it takes some real expertise, guidance, and coaching to get right. No matter how good the templates are, no matter how good the exercises, the inside-out business roadmap, your juicy title, big promise positioning, creating a graphic system, it still helps to get expert advice, guidance, and feedback every step of the way to review what you're doing, to help you implement this in your business and make sure that you're on the right track. Because it can be really hard to see yourself like other people see you. It can be really hard to be objective about your business when you're so close and so in love with what you do. Warren Buffett could explain investing in 5 minutes. You gotta buy low, sell high, and only invest in things that matter. But that's not enough to go and invest your whole life savings, right? Sometimes you just need some real guidance, support, and accountability as you go through the process. Someone to hold your hand and give you feedback so you don't get lost, and you know that you're making the right choices. You know that you're choosing the right power signals, the right messages, the right visuals. Because if you don't have a sixth sense for marketing or copywriting or design, it's easy to make the wrong choices, and those can very quickly send the wrong signals to your audience. That's why I've created the Message to Money program, to allow you to get that support each step of the way through your inside-out business roadmap, without investing $10,000 to work with me privately for a day to really figure this out in your business. I wanted to open this up to people who didn't have that kind of budget yet. Message to Money, it's not just one of those training programs that sit around collecting dust, and it's not just a coaching program. It's what I call an implementation program, where I give you exercises like what we've done today, then you come back and you show me what you've worked on. You can come back and ask questions, and I work with you to fine-tune the words and the images until they're totally spot on. You'll receive one-on-one time with me twice a month, every month, to help you get unstuck or fix your biggest, gnarliest business problem. So I know how sucky it is to feel like you've been left to go it alone and figure it all out by yourself. And I found that when it really comes to the stuff at the very core of your business, it's not always something you can just paint by numbers with. Sometimes you just need to have a conversation to get the aha and get unstuck and connect the dots and really see the vision that was hiding in there all along. Most training programs don't offer any personal access to the trainer, but I really want to support you every step of the way. That's why I really commit to giving you a lot of my personal time and support in this process. My goal is to guide you toward creating a business that's so interconnected with your vision, your message, and your brand that your audience can't help but fall in love with what you're creating. These calls alone are worth your entire investment for Message to Money and more, and you'll have lifetime access to these live group calls where you can come and coach with me one-on-one. These happen twice a month, and you have lifetime access for as long as I'm doing Message to Money, and I've already been doing it for 3 years now. Of course, you'll also get a lot of training and a lot of exercises. Inside the program, you'll find dozens of visual power signal tools, templates, and examples. You'll learn how to use color, contrast, photos, logos, fonts, and more to stand out instantly, powerfully, and confidently, and to be seen as an A player. So if you've ever felt stuck because you don't have a good eye for design, then you're going to love these. You'll also get all 20 messaging power signal templates to guide you step by step to the perfect words for your business name, your product names, your taglines, your headlines, and your website copy that makes your business truly irresistible to your audience. You also find in-depth guidance from me on choosing the right business model to make sure that your plan for making money is going to work, and more importantly, is going to support your lifestyle. Plus expert guidance on how to package your knowledge and move your customers and clients up through your offerings without being hypey, salesy, or sleazy. And how to create a product funnel that will turn a trickle of sales into a flood, creating a healthy income. This course is structured as a 6-module training program delivered every 10 days starting right away. So as soon as you sign up, you'll get immediate access to the first module. That's 1 module for each stage of your Inside Out business roadmap. Each module contains 2 to 3 hours of video trainings by me, along with downloadable audio, transcripts, and worksheets to help you start applying the training right away in your business. It costs $500 an hour to work with me privately, and you have live access to me twice a month. That's 24 times a year. For the cost of just 2 hours of my time, you get lifetime access to the training and lifetime access to me. You get to attend 24 live group coaching calls a year where you can ask me your questions one-on-one. So for those of you who've already done the math, you can get started with Message to Money for just $197 down today, plus 5 additional payments of $197 spaced 30 days apart. Or if you prefer, a single payment of $997. So that's what I've got. If this makes sense for you, then I'd love to have you join us. Simply visit messagetomoney.com/go and click the big orange Get Started Now button. Now imagine the progress that you'll make when you factor in all the personal coaching that you're going to receive. Getting unstuck today by figuring out exactly what visual and messaging power signals to send could mean the difference between struggling year after year versus flipping a switch and turning on your immediate success once and for all. Now let me tell you about the guarantee I have for this program, plus the thousands of dollars in extra cool bonuses and stuff that I'm going to give you, plus my fast action bonus valued at $250 if you jump in before this call ends today. So I've decided to really take all of the risk here to inspire you to try this out. Most programs give a 30-day guarantee, but that's barely enough time to get started, let alone start to see results. So we've decided to go all out and offer you a full guarantee for the entire training, the entire 60 days. That means you get all the modules, you get to study the entire program, and come to the live coaching calls before you tell me if it was worth the small investment. And if you're not super excited about the possibilities, then you can contact us for a full refund with no hoops to jump through whatsoever. And contacting us is really easy. Just go to the Big Friendly contact page in the members area and let us know. Now let me tell you about the $8,843 in bonuses that await you when you sign up. So as I already mentioned, you get access to coaching with me personally. That's 24 live group coaching calls a year where you can come and ask me your burning questions. This bonus by itself is valued at a huge $5,000 for the first year alone. Bonus number 2 is my favorite. I'm going to give you 2 tickets to Message to Money Live, a 3-day message and brand workshop that will lead you step by step through the process of finding the perfect words and images that transform your message into a call to action that your audience is going to feel compelled to listen to and act on. We've structured this live in-person event around in-depth exercises, group shares, and hot seats to give you the vital feedback and community that you've been missing up until now. This will quickly let you know what's not working, what needs to change, and how to fix it. You'll have the opportunity to join an amazing, intimate group of entrepreneurs committed to building a business that changes the world and really kickstart your message and brand in a weekend live. The next workshop is happening January 19th through 21st in Los Angeles, so you can start the new year on the right foot and celebrate all the success that you have over the next 3 months between now and January. Your next bonus is my mini course on how to turn your business into a money-making machine. In this training, I share with you the 11 specific strategies that I've recently developed with my $50,000 plus coaching clients for building a website that converts like crazy. So you'll learn the science behind creating a website navigation system that guides visitors gracefully towards going deeper with you. You'll discover the most effective way to integrate social media into your pages for maximum engagement. And you'll also discover how to leverage tiny design cues to direct your visitor to taking the exact action that you want them to take, plus a whole lot more. Your fourth bonus is a season pass to the Superhero Summits, and it's valued at $1,188. So this includes access to the training archives from all 4 of our Superhero Summits. This bonus will help you supercharge your marketing, your traffic generation, your videos, and your social media. So once you get those words and images right, you have the strategies that you need to attract as many people as possible to your website and your offerings. You'll also get lifetime access to the private Facebook group only for Message to Money students and alumni, valued at $47 a month. So imagine having 24/7 access to over 500 other Message to Money students for instant feedback on all your toughest branding and business challenges. And I gotta say, this community is amazing. I feel really blessed to have such amazing students. So that adds up to an amazing $8,843 of value that we're giving to you over the course of 12 months, and I'm taking all the risks so you can test me out. So on that note, the page is now open at messagetomoney.com/go. Just head over there now to register. So that's messagetomoney.com/go. We've just typed the link into the chat box for you. So if you go to messagetomoney.com/go, close to the top of the page, you'll see this big orange Add to Cart button. Just click on that button, and I would absolutely love to work with you. Now, I'm not going to do the whole false scarcity thing here and tell you if you don't sign up today, you're never going to get it again and your life is going to suck. But here's what I am going to do. If you sign up while we're on the call right now, you're going to get this fast action bonus. Because I like to recognize people who show up, make decisions, and take fast action. You're going to get a one-on-one laser-focused consultation with me. This usually costs $250. It's a 20-minute call. We can talk about anything you want. We can talk about your overall strategy or direction. We can talk about your content, your website, or your brand positioning, whatever you want. And you can use this session tomorrow or next year. It's there waiting for you whenever you need it. So this offer is not available on the replay, so you can only get it on the call right now. Just go to messagetomoney.com to get this bonus. Now, I really want you to get results, and I know just how important it is to work with someone who's gotten results for themselves and for other people. So I want to share with you what a couple of my students have to say before we move on to Q&A. My student Gina Hyatt had some amazingly fast success. Because of your training, I was able to attract a sponsorship opportunity that put me in front of 700 people, got me 500 people on my mailing list, and made me $20,000. And this is what Tanya Kersey, the filmmaker's career coach, said about Message to Money. I used to get $295 for a coaching program. Thanks to Marisa, I figured out I was talking to the wrong tribe all these years. Now I'm getting $997. I want to hear the same sort of things coming from you. So if this training is right for you, I would love to work with you. Visit messagetomoney.com/go and sign up right now. And remember, if you sign up while we're still on the call, you'll get that one-on-one laser-focused consultation call with me personally, valued at $250. All right, so it looks like we've got some time for Q&A. If you have any questions for me about the program or the content that we covered on the call today, go ahead and type that in now. So Brad, what do we have? All right. So I'm going to look for all of the questions that are coming through. So let's see. First question is from Maya, who says, if I end up working with you guys through Take Flight Now, how does message to money fit in? So Maya, message to money is all about getting you super clear about your core message and brand, the words and images that you need to express yourself in the market. So it's a really good balance to Take Flight Now, which is our web design package, because when you know your core words and images, your website's going to be way more effective. As you can see, like I said, I recommend starting from the inside and working your way out. So I recommend working on that core message and brand and positioning before you jump into building your website. So you may already have done some of that work, but message to money allows you to drop in deeper. So the next question is from Samantha, who said, the thing about what Marisa's offering is you think you can't afford it, but actually you can't afford not to if you aren't a chronic DIYer or can spend 5 to 10 years fumbling along. Thank you, Samantha. Where are the rest of the questions? Let's see. Sorry, we've got a little bit of a lag in getting me the questions. So the next question is, exactly how important is a tagline? And that's from VA Services. So the reason why a tagline is important, it's more important if your business isn't, your business name isn't clear. If your business name doesn't really express what you do, live your message. It doesn't really say what I do. So my tagline, or the new version of my tagline, is going to be how to build a business that expresses who you are. So that allows people to understand what I uniquely help them with. So building a business that expresses who you are. So that's a handful of words that people can read right at the top of your website that instantly cues them in. And that's super, super important. So next question is from Dr. Tanvi Gautam, who says, what is the timing of the calls as I'm overseas? So that's a really good question. We rotate the calls between noon Pacific and 5 p.m. Pacific. So sometimes half the time they're at noon, and the other half of the time they're at 5 p.m. Pacific. So by rotating them, we pretty much fit into every time zone, and we've got people in Message to Money from all over the world. So usually people can make either one or the other, noon or 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you made this call at 5 p.m. Pacific, you can make at least one call every single cycle. And wanted to take the opportunity to start welcoming some people into the program. We've got Maria and we've got William. So welcome to the program, Maria and William. So the next question is from Lisa, who said, is the program aimed just toward coaches and service industries only, or is it applicable to product sales? So it's definitely applicable to product sales and programs and leverage programs as well. So a lot of building an online presence, I mean, it's great if you're selling services, but it's also great if you're selling products. I sell a lot of different products, and these are all of the strategies that I've learned to sell my own products, as well as the strategies that I've put in place with my my clients who are mid-6 and 7-figure business owners. So we've put all of these things into place for them, and it works, because if you want to represent yourself online, if you really want to sell and do business online, then products are an amazing fit for that, because products instantly allow you to serve a lot more people without really having to spend more of your time necessarily, because you can only serve so many people one-on-one. So this is a really good program if you've got products. And I show you at the beginning of the course, by the way, a few of the different business models. So this program is a fit for more than one kind of business model. It's a fit for coaches and consultants and service providers, but it's also a fit for people with the more leveraged, scalable offerings as well. So there are a few different tracks within Message to Money based on the kind of business and business model that you have. And I also help you define the kind of business model that you want to have, because a lot of people jump into a business model that's not the right fit, that they can't sustain. So if you've got a big family, for example, and a lot of home responsibilities, then building one of these really big internet marketing companies, based on sending out massive amounts of email and having a lot of technology in place, isn't always the best fit. So I also wanted to welcome Holly and Lee into the program. So welcome, Holly and Lee. I'm really excited to have you in Message to Money, and I wanted to just congratulate you because you also get the fast action bonus. You get the 20-minute consultation with me so we can dive a little deeper into your business, which is awesome. So next question is from Rhonda, who says, can we come in a month later, like a month late? So Rhonda, you can. Like, the course is not going to disappear. I've been doing it for 3 years. But at the same time, I recommend coming in with a big new group of students. We only launch the course twice a year, so we take in a lot of new students just twice a year. And the benefit of that is really having the energy of meeting new people who are starting at the same place as you. So if you can, and by the way, you can sign up and you get lifetime access to the course, and you get lifetime access to the training, so you never really need to feel like you're behind schedule, right? You can really just jump in kind of when you're ready to jump in. So next question is from Rhonda, who says, am I understanding correctly 24 calls over 12 months one-on-one with Marisa? That's just the beginning. You actually have lifetime access to the live group coaching calls, and those are 24 calls over 12 months, 2 calls a month. And this is a group coaching call, so you can come on and ask me your questions one-on-one. It's not 24 private calls exclusive to you over 12 months, but it's 24 calls that you have access to, and you can ask your questions. And I almost always have time to answer, all the questions that come through. So that's a really good question, and I've done Message to Money for 3 years. So if I continue to do Message to Money and you're guaranteed to have at least a year of calls, you'll keep being able to come to the calls beyond the first year. So the next question is from Naomi, who says, just to clarify, so it's not really advisable to use your name, e.g. marisamurgatroyd.com, and branding yourself. Naomi, that's not necessarily true. So your name, or having a personal brand, is one of the 20 templates that I give you. So what it is about is figuring out what kind of business that you want to have and what kind of business model that you want to have. So for Jamie Miller and for me at Marisa Murgatroyd, using our own personal name wasn't the right match for the kind of business that we wanted to create. So as you name your business, it's really good to think through, well, where do I want to be in 5 years? What do I really want this business to look like? What makes me different? And there are certain advantages to having your personal name, but there are also advantages to having a business name. So it's really important to evaluate the pros and cons of each kind of naming and positioning of your business. Right? So the next question is from Sandra, who says, I can't do this right now. Will you be running it again? Well, Sandra, we've been running this course for 3 years now, so it's not going to disappear off the face of the earth. But I do recommend that if you have time, if you're able to make the commitment, to get started sooner rather than later, because I know that before I really got to work on this part of the business, I was spinning my wheels for a long time, and I spent a lot of time doing stuff that didn't work. So this is really, really helpful if you get started and really crack the code on this stuff once and for all, because everything you do later just starts to get easier and a lot more effective. So yes, you can do it later, but I would recommend focusing on this part of your business as soon as possible, because it really makes more results than almost anything that I've seen people do. All right, so next question is from Jennifer. I was just getting ready to launch my website, but I see it's not quite ready. What's the balance before getting out there versus waiting till it's perfect? Now, that's a really good question, Jennifer. So I definitely recommend not delaying so much that more people are entering the space, the competition's getting fiercer, and I also know that taking action is important to get real deep clarity. But at the same time, I know that you've got to make a good first impression. If you really don't have the core, words and images of your brand in place, if you really don't know what your business is about, then launching something that's totally confusing is going to send people away. They're not going to pay attention. So you don't want to launch something if you just don't really know what you're all about, but at the same time, you don't want to wait too long to launch, because a lot of things can happen, and there are people who've delayed going to market and they've watched a whole business opportunity pass them by. So it's definitely a balancing act between taking action so you can get more clarity, but also doing enough of the work and going through enough of the exercises and processes that you're stepping out with something that you can be proud of and that you can stand behind. So next question is from, oh wow, so just wanted to welcome some more people to the program first. We've got Linda, and we've got Larry. So we've got Linda and Larry, and that is his real name. So it's not Larry from the bar, it's the real Larry who wants to sign up. So congratulations, Linda and Larry, and Holly and Lee and William, and I can't even find all the different names, and Dr. Rashawn, congratulations. And you all will get the 20-minute call with me, the consultation call with me, when you're ready for it. So that's just a reminder that that call is only available till the end of this webinar, and that I'm not going to give it away on the replay. So you do have to be on the call, and you do have to sign up while we're on the call to grab that. So the next question is from, hold on, trying to find them all, is from Lisa. Or no, I think I've already done this one. The next question is from, I can't see the name, but it says, I operate as a virtual assistant providing various administrative support to various audiences. In my field, we often struggle with whether we should refer to ourselves as virtual assistants or consultants. After sitting in on this webinar and hearing the power signals, I'm still struggling with this title choice. What suggestion would you give towards zoning in on one in particular, yet effective title? I am the founder. So virtual assistants and consultants, they're still putting you in that labeled box, right? So as a virtual assistant, there's probably a cap on how much you can charge. But people are specifically looking for virtual assistants, and they'll potentially find you. Consultants can potentially charge more, but it still doesn't really say what you do for people. It's not specific enough or juicy enough to make someone sit up and say, wow, okay, I get it. I want to do this. So that's going to be really, you need to dig a little deeper. It's not just a choice between virtual assistant and consulting. I think you've got to get clearer about what kind of services and what kind of support that you provide for people. And I know with virtual assistants in particular, that having a specialty, having a focus in your practice allows you to really kind of zoom in and go a lot deeper. So Rhonda asks, is the 20-minute clarity call with Marisa, is it one-on-one? Yes, Rhonda, that's a private call. So the fast action bonus for Message to Money that I'm offering only on this webinar is a private one-on-one call with me personally. So it's a 20-minute call, and we can talk about anything you want. It's not the group call, you get those too, but that's part of the course. So it is a private call, and if you sign up while we're on the line. So I also want to welcome Yalifa to the program, or Yalila to the program. So welcome, Yalila. Oh, Yaila, sorry. It's easier to see when it's all in caps. Yaila, welcome to the program, Yaila. I look forward to getting to know you. All right, so I'm going to look through and see what other questions there are here in the chat. Stephanie asked, do you do any scholarships? So Stephanie, I don't. This is a program that everybody has invested to be a part of it. And what I love about that is that everybody who's in it really wants to be in it. They've made it a priority for themselves. And that's really important. So Don wants to know, Marisa, when did you start to hire people? So I started to hire people pretty much right away. And one of the most important things to realize is that your time is incredibly finite. So if you spend all your time doing admin and things like that, then it's hard to do the most important critical work of your business. So I started hiring people for the things that I didn't need to do really, really quickly. And yes, it costs money, but honestly, that's money incredibly well spent, because if I could hire someone for $15 an hour or $25 an hour, and then I can be making, 10 times that, then that's a really good investment of $15 to $25 an hour. It's just a little bit scary sometimes, because you've got to invest the money to make the money, and you think, oh my gosh, what if it doesn't pan out? But once you take the plunge and you free up all of that time and that mental energy, you can really step forward in a bigger way. So I want to welcome Cindy and Dr. Tanvi to the program. So welcome Cindy and Dr. Tanvi, and I see Dr. Tanvi says in the chat, yay, I'm in. So awesome. Congratulations. So next question is from Jen, who says, currently I sell my services by the hour. Will Message to Money help me make the move from selling time to selling my expertise? Definitely. This is something that we talk about. Not everybody wants to switch from selling time to really kind of selling more programs and selling expertise. But whether or not you want to create products, understanding how to position yourself so you can increase price and increase the perceived value of what you do is really, really important, because that's what kind of lifts the ceiling off of your income. So if you think as a VA I can only make $50 an hour, well, there may be other ways that you could make more money by positioning yourself in a different way. So the woman who asked about, am I a VA or am I a consultant? You know, that's cool. Like, you can still increase from $20 an hour to $50 an hour by positioning yourself as a particular kind of VA, but there are other levels to it as well. And I will teach you to scale and to increase your prices as much as you're comfortable with and as much as you desire to, because we all have different motivations for why we're in business, and my primary motivation isn't money, but it definitely allows me to have a bigger impact. So next question is from Cindy, who says, can you help us find resources like designers? Yes, we can. We make a lot of recommendations within Message to Money for how you can get your website designed and built or other kinds of materials. So definitely we can do that. All right, so I'm going to look around for some more questions. Okay. So next question is from Dr. Tanvi, who says, if we can't attend the summit, will you be sending us the recording? I think she's talking about the live event. Dr. Tanvi, I can't guarantee that I'm going to live stream the live event. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do with it. You know, I know in the past I have recorded the event. I am planning to videotape it, but I can't guarantee exactly what I'm going to do with those recordings. So I definitely recommend, if you can make it live, to make it live. And you know, there probably will be pieces that end up being added to Message to Money and given to you all, but I just don't have, you know, I can't make any promises of what I'll give you from the recordings of the live event. It's really meant to be a live event. All right. Next question is from Dr. Tanvi. Is there a SP coaching fee for one-on-one with you if we choose to book some time with you as part of the course? So yes, Dr. Tanvi, if you're interested in mentoring with me, I do offer mentoring with Message to Money, and you know, we can talk about that if that's something that you're interested in. Just email support@liveyourmessage.com, and I can let you know just what it would take to kind of work with me one-on-one if you want more support than just the 20 minutes that you got for signing up the Fast Action bonus, and more support than just the live group coaching calls, which is awesome, by the way. I have a lot of people who come to the live calls for years whenever they have a question that they really need my guidance on. So it's a lot of support that we give you, and most courses, they just give you a program, and you're kind of up to you. You're kind of up to your own luck on it. So Naomi wants to know, how long does it usually take from the start of the program to launching of a new site or business? So Naomi, it honestly depends on you. So I've had people take a year from going from nothing, not even really knowing what their business was, to launching a program. And some people come at different stages of their business. Some people have a business and they want to take it to the next level. So sometimes within 3 months or 6 months, they're starting to improve their profit and really see a lot of results. Some people implement a tweak and right away they're able to increase their prices or sell more clients in what they do. So it really is, you know, one of the reasons we give you lifetime access to both the training program and the live group coaching calls is so you can do this in the time and space that works best for you and have support every step of the way. It's not like the program's over in 2 months and then you're left to your own devices and it's like, best of luck, you know, you're on your own. You really have that opportunity to stay in the community and, you know, get support. So, all right, let's see. Next question. is, okay, so we'll put the email of our support team into the chat. So it's support@liveyourmessage.com. Just email support@liveyourmessage.com. And I know sometimes people have trouble signing up, and there was one person who had trouble signing up. I hope you got taken care of. Mark just said, I just started 5 months ago and I'm building my own site. It's currently under construction. Is this a good time to start? Absolutely. It's a really good time to start, whether you've taken your site live or before you've taken your site live, because you still have time to really drill down and dial in and get to the essence of what your business is about. Like, what specifically are you doing in the marketplace that's going to position you uniquely and differently and in a way that people are actually going to buy. So it's a great, great time to do this course because you've got a little bit of flexibility. You haven't taken it live. You haven't made that public pronouncement of, this is who I am yet. So you can change. You can be flexible. So next question is from Stephanie, who says, what do you get for the first $197? So Stephanie, the course is 6 payments of $197. Or 1 payment of $997. So as soon as you make the first investment, you get access to the first module of the course. So that's how it works. I mean, you will get access to the entire course before you finish your payment plan, but when you invest your first $197, you get access to the Quick Start module. A few days later, you get module 1. So anyway, the program is those 6 payments of $197, but you get started right away. You get started with your very first payment, and you get everything before you finish your last payment. So that's how we make it very affordable and accessible for lots of people to join us at all different stages of their business. So next question's from Bill, who says, I'm fascinated by the business universe idea, but how can just 5 things really be enough to build a huge business? Is it okay if I do more? Do you teach them all in your course? So Bill, it's definitely okay to do more than 5 things, but I recommend starting with less things and doing them really, really well before you progress to more, because the tendency is to do too many things at once, and then you can't really do any of them well. So you're doing a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit there, and your focus is spread so thin that everything's kind of like half-baked. So I do teach every single one of the things that you saw in the business universe in Message to Money. In Module 6, Grow Your Tribe, I teach, every single one of those strategies and how to do it in a way that spreads your message and your brand. All right. Brandy asks, what if I join to see how it works but I still feel blocked? What advice would you have for me? So it's natural to feel blocked because it takes some time to get this stuff right, but my recommendation for you would be to really leverage the group calls. To really come, you've got access to me twice a month, so come each time and ask me one specific question. So every time you're blocked, try to think about, well, what am I blocked around? What's the one thing that I can do to take action right now? And I always recommend just continuing to take action. Do what is in your control. Do what you know that you can do right now. And then leverage the community, leverage the Facebook group, leverage the coaching calls to get that guidance to help you unblock and move forward. And that's my recommendation for you, because what I can guarantee is that you're not going to become unblocked by, staying home and, just doing whatever you're doing or just not getting the support in the community. So next question is from Peter, who says, how much guidance do you give in reimagining my current website and logo? They're not all just bad. They need help, and I'm afraid I'm totally not confident doing this by myself. Can I run ideas past you in the group coaching sessions? So yes, definitely. So in the group coaching sessions, you can actually post a link to something, say on our Facebook group, or give me a link to your website, and I will review that on the group coaching call. So I'll actually kind of open up your line, and you'll dialogue with me back and forth. So you'll actually get to ask me, show me something, and get my feedback one-on-one. So definitely, you will get support and guidance as you create this, and you can come to the calls and you can get my input on what you're designing, where it's not working, and what you could do. And just a reminder that there is a fast action bonus that goes away at the end of this call. So if you know you want to do this, if you know you're stuck, I see Rhonda saying that's where I am right now, spread too thin, then I recommend joining as soon as you can on this call to make sure you grab that 20-minute consultation with me, because we can definitely go deep in a short period of time. All right. So Amy's asking, will there be a replay of this webinar? Yes, there will. There will be a replay of the webinar. It's going to be on this very page that you're watching right now, so it'll be up as soon as we're done. It'll go straight to replay. Oh, I wanted to welcome Dana to the program. So welcome, Dana. Congratulations. I can see her post in the chat too saying I'm in. So congratulations, Dana. Awesome. VA Service is saying, what fees do you charge to review a website and provide constructive criticism? So that costs basically $1,000. So if you wanted me to review your website and get my feedback on your site and do a full analytics evaluation, it's $1,000. But with Message to Money, you actually get to come to the calls and give me your links and have me review your website right then and there as part of the program. So basically, for the same cost of hiring me privately to do something, you can get that incorporated with your investment in Message to Money, plus all the training and ongoing access to the live group coaching calls. So there's a lot of support in that program. Rhonda says, you're awesome, Marisa. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate that. So are there any other questions? All right, so I wanted to welcome Jennifer to the call. So welcome, Jennifer. And we are getting towards the end of the questions. So for sure, if you're planning on signing up and you wanted to grab that fast action bonus, I would make sure that you do that right now, because we are going to be wrapping up very soon. So next question's from Stephanie, who says, how can you use your tagline to start the right conversations with your ideal clients? So, there's more templates than just the tagline. There are different formulas that I teach. Some of them are called the XYZ template. But the really good thing about your tagline is when you do it right, it not only says what you do, but it says how you're different. Your tagline shouldn't be something really generic, like from failure to success, because a lot of people can say they can help people from failure to success. But your tagline should identify what you do uniquely and what you promise uniquely. So that's how you can use it as a conversation starter, because when you dial into that point of differentiation, what makes you really, truly unique, then that's going to be an awesome place to start a conversation from, because you're going to turn off that whole P-Touch labeling machine and really help people understand what you do and why you're different, and you're going to get noticed. You're going to get their attention. So Cindy says, excited to start. I'm really excited to work with you too, Cindy. And Dr. Rashawn says, thanks so much, gotta go, and she's already in the program as well. And VA Services, you're right, that's a much better deal, thank you. Yes, you get a lot of support in Message to Money, so what I try to tell people is you can really, really use those coaching calls, those group coaching calls. You can get a lot of personal input on your business, and working with me privately is kind of expensive, and I'm happy to talk about it if that's what you want to do, but Message to Money gives you a lot of access. I really make myself available because I love my students, and for me, making a difference and really helping you build a business that expresses who you are, it's the most important thing for me and why I do what I do, and the most fulfilling thing as well. So Amy's asking, is Frank Kearns the president of the internet? Is this his? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by it, but he calls himself the president of the internet. So yeah, that is a title that he uses. And he calls himself other things as well, but it definitely gets noticed and gets attention. So, someone else says, she's a great future student for you guys, actually. I don't know who she is, but oh, her former web designer asked, who did I lose you to? Please send me to their site. I like it. And yes, Maya, she probably is a really great future student for us too. We actually have a lot of designers who study from us because we do things in a really, really different way. All right, so the next question is from Dr. Tanvi, who asks, what if you want to build a brand in one area, but your market is telling you otherwise? Well, if you want to make money, then it's important to build a brand that's going to meet your market where they are. That doesn't mean you can't do something that you're really called and inspired to do. It just means you have to find the piece of that that resonates with your audience. Okay? And that's super, super important. So what is that piece of what you do that your audience can say yes to because you're solving a specific problem for them? You're really giving them a transformation and a solution. Because if you're not in the business of providing solutions, it can be hard to really kind of sell your work, right? Because like, who's going to spend a lot of money for something that's not helping them do anything, right? So next question is from Carrie, who said, all my budget's going into my website right now. I can't afford to join. Do you recommend I finish my website and then start your program? So Carrie, I definitely understand that building a business can be expensive. There are a lot of different things to invest in. What I will tell you is that really understanding what I'm talking about in terms of power messaging and power signals and getting the graphics right and really getting the imaging right and understanding the messaging right will actually save a lot of money in the long run. Because if you're spending money on a website but it's not the right website, or if you are making mistakes because you don't know how to structure it in a way that's going to build your business and get results, problem too. So you really want to, it's a good investment to make right now just because you can save money by being super, super clear about what you want. All right? Okay, so the next question is from Pam, who says, with Superhero Summits, I do have to say I feel overwhelmed with programs I need to complete. I'm at the point in my business where I need your services. Can you talk about the process of the program? Is it daily, weekly, etc. lessons? So yeah, Pam, Message to Money is a really great way to pull together all the different trainings and things that you've done by getting to the heart and soul of what you do. To really understand, well, what is your core message? What is your business about? And then which one of these strategies is really going to support you to get that message out into the world, right? So that's going to be super, super beneficial for you. In terms of the process of the course, you get one module delivered to you every 10 days, but you've got lifetime access to it, right? So one module every 10 days, and then you can go at your own pace. You can basically choose to spend an entire day to go through a module and do all the exercises, or you can do an hour a day, whatever it is that you like. And the group calls happen twice a month. So what I recommend is that you go through a module, you take action, you do exercises, and then you come calls to ask me, all right, here's the thing that I did, here's the exercise that I did, what do you think? I mean, does it sound right, or how would you improve this? And then I can give you feedback on how to make it even better. So that's what I recommend, and like I said, it will help you get back to the core of what your business is all about, right? And when you do that, it's like all those other strategies and things that you're doing, they're organized around a central message and a central brand. So that's what really inspires people to say yes to working with you. Awesome. So I see that there's still a lot of people on the line, and I don't know if it's because you want to hear the Q&A, or I'm assuming that there's a reason for it. And it could be that you're still on the fence. And if you are, I want to encourage you to make a decision, one way or the other, because I know how easy it is to slip into indecision, and before you know it, the opportunity's gone, and the decision's been made for you. And the other big reason is that you get a 20-minute, bonus private call with me, and we can really have that. It's worth $250. So we can have that time to really look at your business and go deep and really consult about, well, what are your core messages? What does make you different? What is your niche? Who is your audience? So I want you to remember that it doesn't matter how much marketing you do, or how much social media, or how much blogging, how much traffic that you drive. Because if you don't have your visual and your messaging power signals dialed in so you can stand out in that first critical 3 seconds, then a lot of that effort goes wasted, right? People just come to your site and they bounce off, and they don't do anything. You don't build your list, and you don't get clients. So before you have the right words and you have the right images so people understand what you do and why they should invest in you, it's like you do lots and lots of work, like Pam, like what you were saying. You're buying all these courses, you're doing lots and lots of work, but you're not seeing the results. And it's kind of like pouring water into a leaky bucket. And it doesn't matter how much water you pour in, you never seem to fill the bucket and get the results that you want. But by working from the inside out, rather than the outside in, it's like everything you do starts to come together and make sense for you and for your audience, which is even more important, right? Because you understand your core value, what makes you different, and exactly how to express your value through the core words and images of your brand. And thanks to that amazing brand, your business markets itself, and your ideal prospects are magnetized to you. You can suddenly charge what you're worth, and people will gladly pay. You know, you're going to finally be doing the work that you want to be doing and making an impact in the world with the authority and the income that you deserve. So that's really important stuff to get dialed in and get right. And I got to just say that, you know, I've seen so many students spin their wheels for a really long time because they didn't do this work. You know, they didn't take the time to get clear on who am I, what kind of business do I want to have, what's my business model, you know, what are the words that people actually respond to. Yeah. How can I feature and express what I do in a way that gets attention? Because if you're out there on Facebook and you're spending time every single day posting on Facebook, but you haven't worked out what you're about, it's like you're sending mixed messages. And it's not really resonating. You know, it's not really grabbing people's attention. And that's not a very good place to be in, honestly. Right? All right, so we are coming to the end of the questions. I'm just scanning through the chat to see if I forgot anything. And if I haven't gotten to your question, feel free to ask it again, because the chat moves quickly and I might not have gotten all the questions in there. So Mia's saying that I can't get to the checkout page. Is there someone I should email? Yes, just email support@liveyourmessage.com, support@liveyourmessage.com, and we'll take care of you. And if you haven't, you know, signed up because of a technical issue, just email support@liveyourmessage.com right away, and we'll take care of you. You know, we'll get you signed up and make sure you still get that fast action bonus. Because if it were just like an inability to sign up, we just want to make sure we take care of you and you've got taken care of. So Mia, just email support, and Murray is on support right now, and he'll take a look and he'll help you out. All right. So next question is from Dana, who says, I use Weebly for my website design. Will that work? What about WordPress? You know, so Weebly and WordPress, they will work. They're all tools, right? But with the tools, it's not just the tool. It's what you do with the tool and what you say and what you feature on your site. So any number of tools is going to work, but you know, it's really about how do you leverage the tools to get results, because a lot of people have access to the same tools, but they're not all getting the same results. So WordPress is great. It's a platform that a lot of people use. It's got a lot of advantages and a lot of good themes to allow you to get started quickly. You know, we also have a platform called Take Flight Now, which is great as well. Just depends on what you're really trying to accomplish with that site. And by the way, there's a whole module on how to build your website so people buy within Message to Money. So there's a whole big module on that, and I walk you through the entire process of what you need to create on your website so you can get people to go from being a visitor to being a subscriber and a fan and a customer and all that good stuff. So Maya says, if I know I need my website built right now because I have the launch on 12/17, can I have my modules released faster so I can do my work more quickly? Yes. So Maya, if you've got a launch coming up and you want to release the modules faster and dive into them faster, absolutely. Dear guests, just email support@liveyourmessage.com and we'll take care of you. We'll unlock them. We'll allow you to take the fast action plan. Now, I don't recommend that everybody does that because I don't want you to get overwhelmed. You know, we want you to be able to go deep into the process and really do the exercises and do the work before moving on, because that's how you see the real results. But yeah, if you've got a fast launch and you need to just see everything right away, no problem. Just email support@liveyourmessage.com after you register, and we'll go in and like hook you up with all of that. All right, so Dr. Tandy says, Marisa, I admire your stamina to do this. What is your secret to being so amazing on such a long call? Well, the secret, honestly, is the clarity and really believing in what I do. Because before, I was all over the map, but I didn't really have the confidence to go up to anyone, anywhere, and just inspire them with who I am and with my message and what I do. Because I didn't know who I was and what my message was and what I do. And that's the thing, that partners who are A-listers, like my joint venture partners are people like Lisa Sasevich and Andy Jenkins and Mike Filsame, and people who are the top leaders of the field, because I can go up to almost anyone. And I can get them to go from not even knowing me to yes, let's work together. And that's just something that came from the clarity and really finding and dialing into my message. I can kind of jump on any podcast or any interview and just do awesome because I know what I need to say. I know what I can say that's going to be consistent with my brand. So thank you for asking that. That's a really good question. All right. So Zelda says, this was what I needed to get my website started. Have to figure out my juicy title. Suggestions for event planners. So Zelda, come to Message to Money and you can brainstorm your juicy title all you want, for sure. All right, I'm just looking through to make sure I haven't missed anything. Okay, great. So we've had some people sneak in at the last minute as well. We've got Allie and we've got William. So welcome, Allie and William. And we really are coming to the end of these questions. I've been scanning back just to make sure I didn't miss anything, to give you a chance to go through and process it all. But you know, we are coming to the end. So if you are on the fence, now is the time to decide, because I know it takes a few minutes to fill out the form, and I want to make sure you get that fast action bonus of the 20-minute call with me. All right, so wow, some more questions come in. Maya says, I love your website. It's so clearly written and chock full of great information. Thank you, Maya. That makes a difference. That took some dialing in to really get that right. My first website was nothing like this one. That's why I teach this program, to help you have something that's clear and that's beautiful and that's full of the information that's going to resonate with your audience too. Next comment is from Manu, who says, thank you very much, Marisa, for the gift of sharing about the business today. I am a new business owner with kindergarten skills. Because of my limited financial services today, I can't afford the program today. I pray that the next time you did your program soon, I'm working realistically with my budget, so I will be there with my resources. I'm grateful for the webinar today, Manu. You're welcome, Manu. So we do our best to make this as affordable as possible by creating the 6-pay plan, just $197 a month for 6 months. But we understand that sometimes you still can't afford it. But what I will say is that investing in your business is one of the best things that you can do with the highest return on investment. So that is something that I recommend. I invest probably $80,000 to $100,000 a year in my business at this point, and that's what's allowed us to cross to the $1 million mark this year. And even that very first year, I think I invested $30,000 to $40,000. I invested almost everything that I had to get the expertise and get the guidance, get the resources that I needed to be a success, because I believe so much that I could make a difference. And it's helped me so much. And I'm not saying that, but if you can't do it, you can't do it, and I understand. So Don wants to know, what caused you to decide to start over rather than stay with something already? Well, Don, what I realized is that my business, it was called BeSeenBoldly.com. It just wasn't a right match for what I was trying to convey. And that's the reason. I didn't start over from scratch 100%. You know, I didn't dump everything that I was doing, all of my offerings and all of my assets. I just rebranded, I remessaged, I relabeled everything. And I got closer to what really made me different. But the website that I had, the business name that I had, the tagline that I had, they were all the wrong thing. So what I realized is, kind of building a business on the wrong business name and the wrong messaging, it was a handicap that was really holding me back. So I'd rather reinvent and put that extra effort in now and be able to grow as fast as we've grown since the reinvention than to just stick with what I had for, you know, the sake of saving time and energy, right? Okay, so it looks like we've come to the end of the questions. I don't see anything else. So I'm just going to say, go out there and live your message. And if you have had trouble signing up, email support@liveyourmessage.com and we'll get you taken care of and make sure you still get that bonus. So for all of those who invested, and I see a lot of names here, I'm really, really looking forward to working with you. Congratulations on taking this step in your business. Congratulations for not just coming to a training and listening, but committing to the action and the implementation. Because you can have an amazing idea in your head, but if you don't take action on it, if you don't really implement that idea, it's never going to come to anything, right? It's like it just stays in an idea, and then you miss the opportunity for helping all those people that you're meant to help. So thank you so much for believing in me and yourself, which is most important, to invest your time and to invest your resources in doing this course. So I look forward to working with you. I look forward to our fast action coaching call. I look forward to seeing you in Los Angeles in January. Go out there and live your message. Bye, everybody.